KMC here from the home office in Montreal. Now, I don't usually talk about things that aren't Formula One, but I'm going to today because last week we had the tragic loss of ex-F1 driver Justin Wilson at the Indycar Pocono race. Now, while I was watching that race, I was tweeting with a friend in England saying about how ridiculous it was. Every time I tuned in, there was a yellow flag period, and then they would go racing for maybe a quarter of a lap before somebody hit the wall, and there was another yellow flag period. There was even one time when a safety truck was driving the wrong way on the track, which should never happen. Then, of course, the tragic accident happened to Justin Wilson. Now, recently in Formula One, of course, there was a fatality with Jules Bianchi uh, passing away this July after his horrible accident 9 months previously at the Japanese Grand Prix in 2014. Now, that was the first Formula One fatality in 20 years. In that same 20 years, in IndyCar karts or American open wheel racing, there have been 8 driver deaths, plus 1 marshal and 6 spectators. Formula One has had just the 1 driver and 3 marshals, unfortunately, and 0 spectators. And if we think about Maria De Villata, who succumbed to injuries a long time after she had an accident in a Formula One car in a private test session. If we think of her, then there's been 15 deaths in IndyCar racing in the past 20 years and 5 in Formula One. Now, why does IndyCar have a fatality rate 3 times greater than Formula One and the only one to have any spectators killed? Well, that's because of ovals. Ovals are dangerous creatures. When a car goes off, it hits the wall very hard. If it bounces back onto the track into traffic, the cars going by are going by very quickly and hit it very hard if they do. Um, Debris has nowhere to go except for onto the track and will be hit at a very high rate of speed, like it did with Wilson. Now, if you go back to the 60s, which was the most dangerous time in racing, arguably, the deaths in Formula One and in IndyCar were very even. There was about the same amount of drivers succumb to their injuries. But everything in racing has changed since then. Everything has gotten better. Safety has gotten better in every way. The cars have gotten stronger and safer. The way to fight fires has gotten more advanced. The medical facilities at tracks has gotten more advanced. We've become generally smarter about how we race. And one of the important things that we've learned in Formula One and in road course racing is that runoff areas are very important. And ovals just don't have them. So when they have accidents, they have big accidents, and that is why the rate of fatalities is much higher in IndyCar. So if IndyCar want to improve their safety, it's time they started thinking about getting rid of ovals.